we are now done with the music portion of this show, moving on to bigger and better things. Like I promised earlier, we have a musical group in the studio, the Stratospheres, say hello.
How's it going?
Hello.
How we doing?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you all for being here. Really means a lot. You guys just released your debut single,
Yep.
Fall Apart, which we're going to listen to in a hot sec and talk about. But also, I think just in regular old introductions are due. So if you wouldn't mind going around saying who you are, that'd be amazing.
I guess I'll start. My name is Max Scott, and I am the rhythm guitarist and singer in this band.
My name is Duncan Kane. I'm the bassist, backup singer.
My name is Jimmy Diskin, and I play guitar.
My name is Braden Janes, and I'm the drummer.
He plays the membranophone.
In this song?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Okay. Well, welcome all of you to the show, new and old faces. How do we feel? First debut single. I guess you can only have one debut single, but how does it feel to have this out in the world?
Pretty cool.
Feels like we're real.
Yeah, we're actually like I've been kind of talking with the three of them about this kind of for a while, but every time we do something new with this band, we're like, okay, now we're like a real thing. Mm-hmm. Now we're like we played a show, now we're a real band, and like now we have like an opening slot. Now we're like a real band, but now that we have kind of something to show people and kind of point them towards with our name on it, I think is really really cool.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what is the origin story of this group?
So we are all in the audio engineering major at Jacobs.
Mm-hmm.
Duncan, Jimmy, and I are all in the same year. We're all third years, and then Braden is a year younger than us. He's a second year, and so we all kind of met through there. And I guess the origin of this band, I went to Duncan originally and was like, "Yo, like I know you play bass. We should definitely like." Put something together. Do you know any drummers? And he's like, yeah, I know one. And so he pointed me to Braden.
And Braden and I have been in many bands previous in high school. We've all just kind of like played in bands similarly together. We've just kind of gravitated together to make this sort of dream band.
Yeah. And then I knew that I've heard Jimmy play guitar on a couple things before I officially went to him, and I knew he was amazing. So I got in contact with him, and then I think we had our first kind of jam/rehearsal in like December of last year. Mm-hmm. So that was like our first rehearsal, and then we kind of did a couple things in the coming months, but we didn't play our first show until April at the retirement home. Shout out to the retirement home for letting us play our show there.
Shout out.
Yeah, they're amazing.
Should be noted, not an actual retirement home. It's a house.
It's just a house. Imagine if it was a retirement home.
With older folks in there, or that's just the gag?
No, that's just
invited the older folks, but they didn't show up.
Oh.
Younger people.
No, it's just a regular just college house with a bunch of rowdy college students.
Okay, awesome. And so you're approaching your year anniversary.
I guess, yeah. Come on.
Exciting.
I think we've had a pretty good. I mean, I'd say we've kind of been actively kind of going after this band since April, really. So we probably put a good 6 months into playing shows and getting the name out. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess the 1 year rehearsal. I actually looked it up. I think the first day was December 4th or December 5th.
That's crazy.
I have like a snap memory from that.
Of course.
So
Gifts are probably in order.
yeah, about 6 months to a year, depending on who you ask. But
okay, but we're coming up on this is a big milestone in general for y'all.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. My I think the best thing to get the people introduced to your sound and your music is to play the song, which I will do in just a second.
Sweet.
I do have one more question though about y'all's sound. I saw you guys play at the Reef 2 shows back, whatever that first show was.
Yeah. I think it was like October 4th. It was like a month ago, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. My perception of time is really warped.
It's okay. You're really good.
But no, it was a great show, and you guys played a lot of crowd pleasers.
Thank you.
Brought the house down with Two Door Cinema Club covers and stuff of that nature. But my question is that I feel, so you describe yourself as alternative pop.
Yeah.
Would you feel that is an accurate representation of
I think so, yeah, especially with this song. I think it's I think one of the reasons we put it out first is not only, I think it was the first song that we kind of wrote as a band, but I think it also kind of encapsulates, we have a decent batch of songs now, but I think it kind of encapsulates the sound the best, and it has kind of a spacey vibe with like the ambient intro, but then it all kind of kicks in, and it's a pretty like, I guess, produced like pop song when you kind of break it down, but
right.
Definitely has the energy of kind of the alternative scene, I guess.
And it matches a lot of our covers too.
Yeah.
We gravitate toward that, like more alternative sound with more of a pop sort of beat to it.
Yeah.
And it just kind of makes sense that was where we settled on our
Someone came up to us after that re-show and said, like, I couldn't tell like your covers between your originals, which I think was a really good, really nice compliment. I think it means we kind of picked our niche pretty well.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, I feel like alternative pop as like a sound generally is very appealing to people.
Yeah.
Like it's a very popular thing, but in Bloomington specifically, I feel like there's not too much of it.
Yeah.
Gear's a little more edgier, or
It's a little more. I'd say it's a little more like punk rock based almost. But I know that there's definitely a crowd of people out there looking for that kind of high energy, I guess, poppy sound.
Right.
And I guess there wasn't really like a band that was doing this in this scene at least before.
No, not really.
So
not quite like this.
I think we've fit the mold pretty well.
Yeah. Jimmy, you had a thought? You raised your hand?
I just like the punk stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, that and we also do plan on kind of introducing more of kind of a rock sound, I guess, with later songs and kind of not going like super crazy with it, but definitely introducing some heavier like air quotes
Cool.
things into it, which I think is really exciting.
Awesome. Well, not going to delay it any further. Let's
Yeah.
go ahead and listen to
Let's
Fall
do it.
Apart and hear that sound. So everyone, this is Fall Apart, debut single, Stratospheres. Enjoy.
My time anymore. I'm not sure if I wanna give up on you, and there's not much left for you and I to do. There's nothing new, but I'll be holding on just a little longer. So I say, hey, what are you doing a million miles away? Because nothing that we do will stay the same. I'll just let you walk out of the dark, and I promise I won't let you fall apart. At night, I'm thinking about all of the times we had to fight. I wanna make it right. You're my lover, you're my friends. Can we put a page in this book before the end? Start again. And I'll say, hey, what are you doing a million miles away? Nothing that we do will stay the same. I'll just let you walk out of the dark, and I promise I won't let you fall apart.
And we're back.
Woo!
Woo!
Wow.
On the
That's a
radio.
song. That's a
On the
song.
radio.
First time.
Yeah, this is awesome to have you guys on. We were just saying. But great first song. What the heck?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I really hope it isn't, please.
If you wouldn't mind telling the people a little bit more about how the song got made in the first place, either how you wrote it, the actual recording of it, because I know that some other, local Bloomington people had their hand in this. So
Yeah. So I guess the origin of it came. We got asked to do a show at the Blockhouse. This was our second gig ever.
Cool.
So we had no originals at this point. And we got asked by a band called Secret Mezzanine. Shout out Secret Mezzanine because they also released a single today and they're awesome.
Oh, shout out.
But Secret Mezzanine were playing a show at the Blockhouse and they asked us to be an opener there. So we were the first band to play, and then there was another one, and then Secret Mez played. But we didn't have any originals, and I was like, well, we have to have one ready at least to show kind of people who this is a real gig at like a real venue, and it's not just like a college party. So we definitely wanted to show people kind of at least something. So, and I think I think artists talk about this a lot when it's the songs you think about the least and you just kind of put it down and just kind of like, okay, that's it. That is exactly kind of how this went. So I demoed out I kind of had like the basic structure of everything. I kind of knocked it all out in like an afternoon, like the guitars and a basic drum and bass line and lyrics. I kind of knocked it all out in, I'd say probably 3 hours.
It's impressive.
Crazy.
But then I sent it to these guys and I was like, yo, what do you think of this? And I think they all enjoyed it, I could say at least.
Yeah, no, I took to it immediately.
And then they kind of took their own spin on it and added their own stuff.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and what was the actual process of like going in and recording it?
So there was the demo, which was kind of what we based everything off of, and it was just done in Logic, and it wasn't really mixed at all. It just kind of had all the parts there. But then
Shout out Logic.
yeah. And then we got in the studio with Antonio and just Antonio this time, to do a demo of it. And that was the first time we had everybody kind of record on it and do their own parts and not just have like computer generated things doing the work. And I was so happy with that demo. I was like, we need to release this now. And that was that was actually the day of that Secret Mezzanine show was the day we did the first like recorded demo. I was like, we need to release this like today. Yeah. But then we waited until we got into a bit of a nicer studio with new engineers. Or well, it was Antonio still, but then we had our friend Dan come in and assist, and we kind of did it in a nicer environment with better gear and all these kind of upgrades, I guess. And we just kind of had a product at the end. They were like, you know what? I think this is the one. I think it's time to let it sail.
And it was nice to have that first demo of it with Antonio, and then so he already knew this. He knew the song.
He knew the song, yeah, which I think really helps
Yeah.
with kind of have the relationship between like the engineer or producer and the musicians. Is if they kind of see it happen once, they kind of know what they can go back and fix again and
So
and
it's
see
easy
what
to
they
go-
can improve. Yeah.
It was easy to go into a new space and get that recorded nice and professionally, isolated and perfect. And then we had a product in the end. And then we hit up our good friend Matt Teeden.
Matt Teeden. Shout out Matt
Shout out.
Teeden. One more shout out if you're listening, Matt Teeden. You
Yeah.
probably aren't,
He
but
made
because
this
it's
just amazing
12,
mix of it,
54
tuned
in LA.
and timed and beautiful and glossy and
yeah.
perfect. And
The first time we heard it together, it was just me, Duncan, and Braden. Duncan and Braden lived together, and I went over there kind of after we were like, where's the Teeden mix? Where's the Teeden mix? We've been like waiting for it forever. And so we went in our car, went in my car to listen to it for the first time, and I just remember like our jaws just went like, just dropped. Like we couldn't even
Unhinged.
like comprehend that was like the same song that like I demoed 5 months ago at that point. It sounded, I mean, it was like so I really wanted to release the demo, but then after I heard that, I was like, I need to release this like immediately. Like I don't even want to do press I don't even want to do like promo for it. Like I just want to put it out now. But then we kind of had to be a little bit more patient with it. And and I think we probably wrapped up recording and got the mix back, I'd say a month ago.
Okay.
So
been
we've
sitting
been
on it.
holding on to it for a little bit, and we had to get the artwork and kind of start doing some promo stuff and building the hype, and
Yeah,
on top of that, doing shows and still doing school. It kind of
School.
definitely a balance.
School.
Yeah. Can't forget about school. That's kind of that's an important thing.
It's like the least of priorities at times.
Sometimes,
For
but
sure.
it really helps that like this is all something we're also studying.
Right,
So like
yeah.
audio engine, like it plays such an important role in what a musician does, and the fact that we all kind of have knowledge on the topic and trying to, and we can help like with setup and helping the engineers and kind of telling them what we think sounds good and what doesn't, and they can kind of bounce off. We can kind of bounce off each other. So I think it's really like it's definitely important that we're all kind of studying something that is so integral. That's a good word. Integral to what we do.
Yeah, great. And I feel like most of the bands that have formed or have been around are audio engineering or Jacobs adjacent, just because it makes so much sense.
There's a lot. There
Got the
are
tools.
a couple audio bands now,
good.
and it's kind of funny how many people kind of overlap and play in multiple. Like most people, I mean, there's a lot of people that play in one band, but I play in two bands. So I'm in the Stratospheres, and then I'm also in another band called Class Action. Shout out Class Action. I'm gonna keep doing shout outs. And then Braden and Jimmy also play in Westhead, and they kind of do this as well. So
Shout out Westside.
shout out Westhead.
Shout out Westhead.
Max to Frisco, you're my guy.
Yeah, Braden and Jimmy, if you either or if you
Yo.
mind. Like I'm curious. You guys are you're in two bands together, which is like, how do you interact differently in this band, if at all differently than you do in Westhead? Like, what's different for you?
Braden.
Braden's what's different.
Thanks, Jim.
Braden has better words.
So in my experience, I've had a really excellent time working in the context of Westhead and in the Stratospheres. It is a little different working in each.
Sure.
It's very confusing that the frontmen of both bands are named Max.
Sometimes we just show up to the wrong gig.
Or I guess gigs are a part of it, definitely. There will be times when there will be a Stratospheres gig or a Westhead gig on the books a couple months in advance, and then the other band will get an opportunity, and sometimes just, it's a shame, but you just have to turn a gig down,
Right.
which is really sad. But it's a good problem to have, definitely, getting offered too many gigs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even if it does mean tough choices occasionally.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely very cool to have your hands in all these buckets. That's not the phrase you would use, but I
It's
think
the phrase I would use.
I respect.
Thank you. I'm gonna start using it more. So we've got a couple more minutes left. Before we wrap up, what can the people expect from you in the future?
So we have already recorded another single. That's we're kind of prepping to get mixed
What's
and
it called?
kind of doing some final stuff. It's called Stand Still, one word.
Good name.
We've been performing
We've
it.
been
so
performing it.
people
We
have
will
already heard
perform it at the
Awesome.
Reef Show. You guys should come out to that if anyone's listening.
That's right. That's right.
So we have that one recorded, and then we were talking off the air that the mixer and masterer of this song, Matt Teeden, is going to be coming back in town in later November, and we will be getting hopefully into Primary Sound to record another single. So we'll definitely put out a couple more singles, and then hopefully we'll start looking to kind of do a bigger project
Yeah.
and more shows.
Yeah.
shows.
Speaking of shows, this is not a call to action, but you all have the freedom to attend a show at the Reef tonight at which we will be playing.
Yes.
That's right.
And we will be debuting 2 more songs. So
Ooh.
if that doesn't entice
Brand
you,
new.
I don't know what will.
Never heard before.
Never heard before, never played in front of an audience before.
But again, not a call to action.
Not a call to
Totally
action,
up
though.
to you.
Do not, the furthest thing from a call to action
Yeah.
that you could possibly think.
FCC, if you're listening, it's just if you feel like it, and you're in Bloomington, and
Yeah, if you feel like it,
yeah,
you
doors open at 5 if you're interested.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well, the Stratospheres.
that is us.
Thank you.
Thank
for
you
coming on.
thank you for having us.
Of course. The people can find you if they so choose at, what's your Instagram?
It's at @Stratospheres. We actually had at the very beginning of this band when we started the Instagram, there is another account called the Stratospheres without the period. Oh. And we DM, and it's like they have 3 followers. They have a black profile picture, like it's just a black circle, and there's no posts or anything. And we DM'd them. We were like, "Yo, like,
Can we have it?
can we have this?" And they like wanted to kind of give us, or they wanted to charge like a kind of obscene amount of money for it. So we were like, you know what? Let's just throw the period in and let's call it that. So it's at the period Stratospheres.
Don't forget the period. Yeah.
Do not forget we'll probably show up if you with or without it, but.
If they follow the other guy, I would get pretty mad.
I'd get pretty angry.
Follow both if you're unsure.
If you're unsure, yeah, we got a little planet in our profile picture, so you can find us there.
That's right. You can stream Fall Apart on wherever you get your music.
Everywhere.
And you should come out to the Reef Show tonight.
You should.
If you are not doing.
You don't have to though.
You don't have. You never have to. But thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Yes.
Thank you for having us.
Bloomington, whoever's listening, thank you so much for tuning in. This is Growing Pains. I'm here every Friday at 3 p.m., so you should tune in next week. And where we have more guests, 3 Pennies is coming on, which is super exciting. So I'll see you all next week. Have a great rest of your Friday, and thank you.
This is WIUX LP Bloomington, the station for I and you.